get S by itself.
Okay, why do you divide by the negative?
Because that's what's in front of S. That's what's in front of S.
Yeah, then your answer is 0.0065.
120 divided by 0.75.
It's 160.
160.
Negative 120.
Yes, divided by negative. Negative divided by negative is positive. So you have 160. We couldn't have negative tickets. So if you got a negative answer, you have to go back and check to figure out what went wrong. So now you've got 160. If we had to solve the entire system, you plug that in here. 160 plus what is 400? 240 would be the other amount. But the only question on the exam pack is asking how many student tickets you have. So the answer was C.
Wait, is that the same question as the question in the study guide?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Oh, is it exactly the same?
Wait,
It's similar. It's very similar. I think it's like $3.50 and $5 or something.
Wait,
Oh, it's
remember-
$9.50.
Okay.
For number 50, the one you just did, you wrote on my exam packet the right answer is D.
Ooh,
You just
that's not right.
So it's
It should be C. It should.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
no. Oh, I'm sorry. For 50, the answer is D. For 51, the answer is C. Okay.
That sounds like way.
Yeah. For 50, they're just asking for the system itself, for these first two equations. And then, so that's substitution. This will work in any system as long as you can easily isolate the variable. That's the key.
So the system is those top two.
The system is the two equations put together. Just like your home theater system is a series of components put together. A system of equations is more than two or more equations put together. And so when you graph, what you're trying to find out is where do they cross. When you graph a solution, this is your solution, the intersection.
go over all of this for one.
Yep, we're going to get to that in just a minute. Yes, we are. Number 3, and if we don't get to everything today, we'll continue it tomorrow. The third way to solve a system, which you will have to do on the exam, is solving by elimination. Yeah. Solving by elimination is when you have two equations and the coefficients of one of the variables are the same. So,
Wait, what did you just say?
a system of equations, let's say 15x minus 3y equals 20 and 10x plus 3y equals 30. What do you see there? What do you see about this system?
It's a negative 3y and plus 3y.
Yes, you have to look at all the coefficients in your system before you decide how you're going to solve it. Graphing, you still have kind of big numbers. It might be hard to graph. It's going to take some time. Bless you. It's not in slope-intercept form, so you can't do it very quickly on your calculator. You'll need to rearrange things. So substitution is not going to work either because you're going to be dealing with 15ths or thirds or tenths when you rearrange these equations to isolate anything. That's no good. So you go to the elimination method. If these two match, or if they're equal but opposite, which is ideal, these will drop out. Sometimes if they're exactly the same, positive 3 and positive 3, you just change all the signs of one of the equations so that they cancel out. But these will automatically drop out when you add the two equations together. When this drops out, you're left with 25x equals 50, and so that's something you can solve. If you eliminate one of the variables, you can solve it. So this, you just divide by 25, and you get x equals 2. Then you substitute. You always go back to substitution eventually, because once you have one answer, you need to plug it in and find the other answer. So if I plug that in, and I'm going to write my original, doesn't matter which one, you need to plug it into an original equation though. So if you make a mistake along the way,
I remember this.
yeah, if you make a mistake along the way, you don't want to use that mistake in your new work. So you want to make sure that you go back and plug it into an original equation. So then you have 30, and then minus 3y bless you, equals 20, even though we get,
I like a decimal.
yeah, we will get a fraction. Just leave it in fraction form unless it simplifies easily. -10, a negative divided by a negative is positive, but you are going to get 10/3. And
Wait.
so,
How did you
Oops.
get 25x and 25?
how did I get, because I added these together.
Oh, okay.
If you add these together, you get 25x. If you add these together, you get 0 y's. So they're gone. And if you add these together, you get 50.
Wait, why did you get the, sorry.
So let's walk through this one. So then 25x equals 50. In order to find out what 1x is, you have to divide both sides by 25.
The reason you didn't do it for
I
that
thought
one,
that was a fraction. So
I didn't do it with this one because nothing matched. I could have multiplied everything in this equation by 3.75 or 4.5, but then it gets messy. It's much easier to use substitution when you have a variable that has a coefficient of 1. That's when you want to use substitution. When things match up, that's when you want to use elimination with addition or subtraction. This is what I have here. I'm going to end up with y equals 10/3, which is 3 1/3. Leave it like this. Don't round, don't change it to 0.3. It's not the same. So just leave it as a fraction. That's it. Because since you don't have to plug this in anymore, it's okay if you get a fraction as an answer. You're done. So your answer is listed as an ordered pair, 2, 3 1/3.
how long ago did we do this?
Chapter 7,
so like March,
seems like, no, maybe February.
yeah, February.
Yeah, Feb.
Yeah.
February.
Okay, so I'm sure you're dying to know how many kinds of each question there are. So what I've done, and then we're going to start, Abby, going through each of these forms, because I'm going to give you kind of an idea by reading to you, and this is where you can re-listen to this and figure out what you need to study when I've color-coded everything. So I know what category the questions are in, and I know I've got enough of each. Yes.
That's the
I'm
entire
guarding it with my life.
Wait, that's the entire exam?
Yeah,
You color-coded our thing too?
yeah, but I have mine, so I know what categories they're in.
Are
The
there
questions are in.
problems? We can like pause on the film and like zoom in.
Yeah, you could zoom in. Yeah, not really.
No,
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
You have a system of equations very
someone
similar
else.
to this one that we've done. So you're going to have to look at the one in the study guide, and you're going to have to look at this one on the exam packet. You're going to have to write equations. For instance, write an equation in slope-intercept form. This is slope-intercept form, so we're going to name these up here. This is slope-intercept form because if it's in this form, you can easily identify the slope and the y-intercept. That's why it's called slope-intercept form. You may have to write an equation using intercepts. Does everybody understand that when I give an x-intercept, I'm actually giving an ordered pair? If I say the x-intercept is 5, I've actually given you a point on the coordinate plane. An x-intercept of 5 means 5, 0. That's the ordered pair you're to use, because it's on the x-axis. The other coordinate's going to be 0.
And slope intercept, what is B like what you start with on the y-axis?
Yes, that's your starting point. You're going to have to graph a linear equation. And when you're graphing a linear equation, you're going to have to start at the starting point. I've told the 7th graders, B is for beginning, and M is for MapQuest. It tells you where to go from there. Because if you start at the beginning on the y-axis, you use your rise over run to tell you how far up and how far over to go to get to your next point on the line. That kind of helps some people if you like those little memory tricks.
Wait,
That seems to help.
that's one line, right?
Yes, that would be one line. Now, we're not talking systems anymore, we're just talking linear